blue chairlifts, trolls, and one of the most notorious terrain parks in the Midwest. Yeah, we're talking Trollhaugen. So let's head on over to the desk so you can ski along. Alright, well, welcome to another episode of Ski Alongs with Matthew Zabransky, and I am super excited about this one. This is one of my favorite hills that's semi-local to me. Crazy names, so I apologize in advance as I work through these trail names. I'm gonna try to pronounce them the best I can, but I'm sure I'm gonna botch one of them, so feel free to roast me in the comments, but yeah. But first, as always, let's dive into some basic information before we dive into the POVs. So first things first, all of this POV footage that you're going to see on screen in just a little bit was taken on Thursday, January 12th of 2023. For those that aren't aware, Trollhaugen is located in Dresser, Wisconsin, just over the border, and it's about 50 miles north of St. Paul. So about an hour, just under an hour drive from basically the greater Twin Cities area. Let's start with when they open in the season and when they typically close. Troll is one of the earliest ski areas to open in the Midwest. They generally open as early as end of October to November. That's usually somewhere in that range is kind of where they open. This year they were one of the first in North America to open, and they always tend to open with a chairlift, top to bottom chairlift run, and Tomte. So we're going to point those runs out when we ski them just so you can kind of see what it looks like and what usually they open with. And then as far as how long the season goes, they usually go until about the second or third week of March. Once again, just depending on weather conditions, things like that. As far as hours go, they run Mondays through Thursdays. Regular season hours are 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Fridays are kind of a fun day, which we'll talk about in just a second, are 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. Yes, you're reading that right, 3 a.m. Saturdays are 10 to 9, Sundays are 10 to 8. As far as prices go, I'm going to pull it up on screen here. They do have online ticketing, so always recommend basically buying those tickets online. Standard all-day rate is $63, and then there are some discounted days just depending on what day you're looking at. Youth is $49, senior special $25, night ticket $41, and then they also have a bunch of specials as well. Monday specials, Tuesday specials, and I'm going to put those up on screen so you guys can take a look at those. Also have rentals, obviously, so $33 for a ski package. Youth is $28, snowboard $33 as well. Same thing, $28 for the youth package, and if you go with boots only, it's going to be $22. They do offer learn to ski packages and lessons, so we'll put some of that information on screen. If you guys want to learn more, obviously you can go check out their website. And lastly, you kind of heard me just talk about it, but they do a Friday night special, which is absolutely crazy. Late night Fridays, and basically it's a $24 ticket from 9 o'clock until 3 o'clock in the morning. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun. They usually have live music associated with that as well. As far as multi-passes, they are on, as far as I know, 2 of them. So they are on the Indy Pass, and they're also on the Skiing Wisconsin Passport. So we'll drop some links to those passes if you guys want to learn more about those. Number of trails, they have 24. Number of lifts, they have 3 chair lifts, 6 rope tows, and 1 tubing carpet. Vertical rise, we always use Google Earth for this one just because it's a little more accurate. And I was basically coming up with anywhere between about a 215 to 220 foot vertical rise on this hill. But without further ado, let's dive into the POVs. As always, we're going to start on the right side of the hill, and we're actually going to be riding up right here was chair 4. This is a 1978 Borvig quad, and it's the longest chairlift that Trollhaugen currently has at just over 1,400 feet in length. Right underneath us, you'll see Logan's Run, and it's kind of a fun little story about where the name Logan's Run comes from. Jim Rochford basically took over the resort in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. Him and his cousin Jim were basically running the resort, and one of his buddies, Glenn, was also there. Glenn really wanted to name Logan's Run after the 1976 kind of sci-fi-ish movie called Logan's Run. And although the 2 other Jims were kind of against it, they went with it, and Glenn also countered that they would name the other run Jim's Run after the other 2 as well. You can see on our left of this image here, you can see these tree kind of pockets in here, and there actually are a lot of side hits on this run, along with trees that kind of go back on the other side that kind of match up with Vesterdahl. So we'll talk about those as we ski that run, but it's kind of a good vantage point to see them from this angle up here. On our right is a little bit more of the beginner terrain, and then also wedged in between there is the Valhalla Terrain Park and Valgrind, which we're going to go through in just a little bit. The first run that we are going to start off with on this side is Bjorkedahl, and this is marked a easy green circle, and it's one of the easiest runs they have here other than the beginners area. I love this run. It kind of wraps all the way around the side. It doesn't have a lot of pitch, but as you can see on screen that we're kind of going over some of these rollers, and this is something that Troll does a lot. They build a lot of snow-made features even on some of their beginner runs, which makes it really cool and fun for the children and honestly even for adult skiers such as myself. This one wraps all the way around. On our right, you can start to see a peak of Valgrind and Valhalla Terrain Parks. We're going to ride those in just a second here. But, you know, nothing crazy, just a mellow pitched run that kind of dog legs all the way around the ski resort and kind of comes back. A really good starter run. Once you kind of come from the beginner area, that's a great one to start on because it's really mellow pitch, it's really wide, and honestly, it feels like a much longer run because of how much it dog legs all the way around the ski area. Next up, we have Valgrind, which is kind of a beginner flow park. Basic features on this, it's basically to skiers left of Valhalla, so you can still hit the rope tow and hit this, and as you can see, just some basic features here, really easy to hit, basic flat rails, boxes, things like that. It's a great warm-up section if you're trying out new tricks and things like that. And because you can still hit the rope tow from here, it's really nice because you can still lap it without having all of the traffic from Valhalla. And speaking of that, we're going to ride up the Valhalla Rope Tow right now. And this is kind of a legendary park for those that aren't aware. It's definitely one of the top ones in the Midwest and honestly even the country. It's always recognized in Snowboarder magazine and countless other magazines as a great park, and for good reason. They have a bunch of awesome features. They're changing it out about every 2 weeks. And we're going to do 2 laps in here. So we're going to start to the skier's left so you can kind of see that. And, you know, at the top, they usually have just your regular jib features. And as you get towards the bottom, usually that's where they'll have at least one jump or a hip or something like that towards the bottom right before you kind of get back onto the rope tow here. So this is the left side here. You can see they got a little jump on the left hand here. This is a weekday, so it's not very crowded. Actually, it was like mid-morning too. So usually if you come on like a weekend or after school, after work, this place is swamped with people just shredding it up. The vibes are awesome. And then this is closer along the rope line here. So you can see just a little more jib features here. Easily lappable. It's just a lot of fun. This is a great park and just a gem, across the Midwest. Going kind of the next run over, we have Julebakken, which translates in Swedish or Danish to Christmas Hill, of all things. And this is a really nice intermediate run. At the top, it's a little bit more mellow, but as you're going to see in just a minute here, it's going to increase in pitch, and you're going to be able to get some really nice turns once it kind of breaks right over the top here. I love it. It's wide open. It's a great next step from Bjorkedahl to come over here, practice those turns, and as you can see now, the pitch is starting to increase, so now you can get some better turns in. It's right off the chairlift, so it's easy to get to, easily lappable for those beginners. Yeah, just a really nice intermediate beginner run. All right, next we have Logan's run, which we kind of talked about on the chairlift already, but if you look to our right, there's a lot of side hits and actually some tree sections in here, and kids absolutely love this. Logan's run tends to be a little bit more mellow throughout and then has a little bit of a steeper pitch at the very end, but this one's a lot of fun for, the kids if they want to hit these side hits over here. And it's obviously a lot more narrow than something like Julebakken, so it's a nice kind of step up, but the terrain itself, the pitch is still not super intimidating. It's still pretty mellow, even for the Midwest standards, but about here is kind of where that pitch starts to drop off a little bit more, and you can get some really solid turns in. As you can see, I'm working my way through the towers there, but those tree sections are really cool, and we'll get a better angle of that as we work down the back of this run, which will be labeled Lillebakken in just a second here. Speaking of which, Lillebakken. So on our left, you can see those kind of treed areas. This is Lillebakken. It kind of wraps around the backside, and it's by far the easiest way to get back to the chalet if you're skiing on that side of the hill on chair number 4, because it kind of shoots you back out right by the chalet. So on our left, you can see that those tree runs, and we're going to be joining up with Vesterdahl, as you can see right on screen here. Be a little bit cautious as you make that turn there, because it does tend to get a little bit congested, but a really nice little cruiser run. I love how many trees there are at Troll, and it's something that tends to be a little more rare in the Midwest. We like to just remove all of our trees for some reason and make wider runs. But Troll has a good variety of wide runs mixed in with narrower ones that actually feel like real runs, and that's just a great example of one. We're going to be riding up the Tomte Rope right here, and this is a nice little park as well. Right in the front here, easy to get to, and a very, very popular park. I mean, honestly, I would put this up there as just as popular as Valhalla. You know, smaller features, but still nice features, easily lappable, and whenever they do events, they typically have them right in front here because it's so easy to watch from the bar. You can see the chalet right in front of us there, and they have a nice deck that you can actually sit and kind of watch people lap this. Great, great, great little terrain park right in front there. Great little features, and honestly, it's always fun. So we're going to go over to the beginners area here. This is Minibakken, which Swedish, Danish means the mini hill. These rope tows are a little bit slower than the other ones, so if you're intimidated, don't be, because they do run them at a slower speed. Minibakken has a little bit steeper of a pitch than the other two runs off the back, which we're going to ski in just a second, but it's a very nice, mellow beginner run. It's right in front, so it's easy to get to, and it's a great place to start. But if you're looking to avoid crowds, you're going to want to go over to the other side because there's usually no one over here, and this is Mickebakken and Gutenhagen. Mickebakken means Mickey Mouse, apparently, in Swedish, which is kind of cool. And these are two separate runs. It's basically just divided by the tree line on our right. We did only ski Mickebakken, so you'll see that. Much mellower than the other, the Minibakken side. So, but it is a lot less crowded over here. So if you're looking to kind of just learn to ski and you're messing around, it's a great place to do it because usually this side does not see as many crowds as the front side over there. And next, we are going to ride up chair 3. This is a 1977 Borvig quad, and you could probably tell already, very interesting if you look at the towers, right? This was actually put in and designed just in case they wanted to obviously increase their uphill capacity. They can run a double quad, and there are actually a couple of double quads that exist, one in the Midwest and then one in New York. The Midwest one is at Brandywine, and that actually has both of them, a double quad, and then there's one at Peak and Peak in New York as well. Fortunately or unfortunately, I guess, I don't know, but they didn't need that extra uphill capacity on this particular lift, so they never actually added that second bull wheel and chairs and all of that, but it's there. Kind of gives it a unique look and feel. And on our right, you're going to see Nessie and Jim's run right underneath us. And these are kind of their signature runs. Nessie is definitely their signature run. And it's the one that they typically open with at the beginning of the season. We're going to ski that one in just a second. But before we do, we're going to go off the backside and do the full length of Vesterdahl. All right, so this is a fun little run, and once again, they do a great job of just sculpting snow and making some fun features here. So it kind of takes a nice dog leg to skiers right, and you'll see I'll kind of ski up on this feature here. They do like a banked turn here, and this is super cool because whether you're a beginner, an advanced skier, it's just something you can mess around with. You can spray a turn off of it, you can get some air off of it. Kids love it. I love that they do this. There's also some side hits kind of on the left and right of this run as you go through. This run does tend to get a little congested just because it's one of the easiest ways kind of off of that chair coming down, and it's kind of semi-narrow, and like I said, you have a couple of runs running into that. So just be cautious as you work through this. Be mindful that there are going to be some other skiers kind of coming through, but as you can see, it just works you right down just to the side of Tomte, wedged in between chair 4, and a nice just, chill intermediate run kind of coming down the side there. The next run we're going to do is Nessebakken, and this is the run that they typically open with top to bottom coverage at the beginning of the season. I love this run. It's one of their signature runs. It just flows really, really nicely. You can ski it in a few different ways. I usually ski the tree line. The snow is so nice in there. There's some side hits on the right here. Just a great pitched run. Is it super steep? Of course not, but it's got a really consistent pitch, and it's really fun to make some solid turns through this. Always fun, and it's easily lappable because chair 3 is just right there, so you just get right back up and go on down. And this is Jim's run, so it's right under the chair, and has a very similar pitch to Nessie, but you know, just a little bit narrower, obviously because you have the trees on both sides and you have the towers as well. This is named after Jim Rochford, who is the owner that took over after the original owners opened it, and his son Jimmy is currently now operating the resort. And next we're going to go over to Glade, which actually means crazy in Swedish, Danish, I guess. And this is a nice run. It's a little more consistent than Storebakken, which is kind of next to it. This is part of the race hill. It's always a fun one to lap. Unfortunately, they weren't running the new chair. But when they are, it's really fun because you can basically get right back on that chair and just go right back up. You'll see this ridge kind of come up, and this is the difference between these two runs. This one kind of is more consistently graded all the way down versus Storebakken, which is just to my right, which kind of has a little more pitch to it, but then kind of has a little more run out at the bottom, and we're going to see that one in just a second here. But a really fun, lappable run, that's always a good one. And then here's Storebakken right next to it. This one in Swedish, Danish means great hill or big hill. And this one has a little bit steeper pitch, but like I said, a little more run out at the bottom. So both these are fun to kind of go in between, depending on what you're looking to do. If you want to rip some really high-speed turns, honestly, Storebakken's really, really fun. If you want to make more consistent short radius turns, I really enjoy Glade as well. So they're both fun to kind of go back and forth on. And next we're going to ski Lee's Run, which actually is named after the original founder, Lee Rogers, one of the original founders. And then we're going to actually ski Jumping Judy, who is named after Wally Peterson, one of the original founders' daughter. So pretty cool. And I give Troll a lot of props here because this could have been separated into two runs where that tree patch is. And we're going to ski both sides so you can see it. But nice, consistent, nice pitch, really fun. And then as you're going to see, we're going to get pushed out into these little chutes that they have. There's two of them, and this one is actually Jumping Judy. It's a little bit mellower than the next one that we're going to do. That is the Chute. And here's the Chute. A little more pitch, and, you know, obviously just a couple of turns, but kids love this. It's a great way to, you know, to test out a steeper terrain. Lots of runouts. There's no worry about, you know, running into things and stuff like that. And it really gives them a rush of energy when they do it. This is Lee's Run again, but we're just staying to skiers right this time. And like I said, this could have easily been divided up into two runs, and I applaud you, Trollhaugen, for not doing that. We love doing that in the Midwest. But it definitely has a different feel to it on that right side. It's definitely more intermediate, and then kind of kicks you out into Half Rabbit, which is the run that kind of wraps all the way around the outside. It's a green circle, and that's kind of where we're going right now. Fun little run. I love it. It's a great step up from some of the stuff on like Julebakken and Logan's run. These are great kind of next steps. After Vesterdahl, you can come over here and test your ability on these runs. There's some trees. It's, you know, and then do those chutes if you want. It's great. This is the Glade. Once again, I think there could be two runs here. We're going to first start with the kind of right out. And there's just one grouping pass in here, and then all of these glades are basically skiable. You can jump in and out and go through them. Obviously depends on the conditions. They don't like necessarily make snow in there. Some of it gets blown in and swept in, but depending on how the conditions are, that it might be skiable, it might be not. And then obviously we took this out, which goes out towards Half Rabbit, and then you're basically on Half Rabbit now going all the way around. The next time we ski this, we're going to actually ski the skier's left side, which is a little bit steeper, and is going to shoot us out closer to kind of like Lee's Run, which is going to have a little bit more pitch to it. So we're going to do that in just a second here. We're going to enter the Glade again, and this time we're going to go on the left side. Same kind of situation here. One groomer pass coming through, lots of areas to jump on into those glades and do a little bit of tree skiing. Is it super steep? Nope, but it's a great way to get introduced to glade skiing. Kids, I'm sure, love this. There's just a lot to play around with. And like I said, we're going to take the left out this time, so it's a little more pitched, and it's going to be more kind of consistent with Lee's Run rather than going towards Half Rabbit. So you do get kicked out to Half Rabbit, but you get a little more pitch kind of along the way with that one. So just a fun, really just a fun little glade run that children can, or any skier honestly, could really just hone in and test their glade skills without being thrown into a huge commitment of a gladed run. So I really applaud Troll for having some of these really cool features like this at the ski hill. And last but not least, we are going to do half rabbit, which is the equivalent of Bjorkedahl, basically all the way on Looker's left side. And this one dog legs all the way around, and it's you know, a pretty mellow run, but once again there are some side hits, some tree areas that you can jump into. Really just a long cruiser, relatively flat, really great for beginners or just somebody that wants to take a break. You know, it's, hey, I just want to cruise around, and I just love that there's trees, you know, surrounding you here at Troll. It's great. On your left, you're going to see the runs that unfortunately were closed. That's the summit area. And we'll talk about those in just a minute. There's some really good pitch there, and luckily there's going to be an expansion there coming next year. So we're going to talk all about that in just a second here. But first, let's ski this one out. So as you can see, it kind of wraps all the way down and around, and you know, just a very mellow but consistent pitch, kind of coming all the way down and around, and just a really good one for a family cruiser, someone that's just looking to, you know, to just relax and enjoy nature, man. It's fun. This is a nice little run. Okay, well, that's all the runs that we were able to ski that day. Now, fortunately, we have a lot more to talk about because there is a big expansion coming for Troll this offseason, and I'm super excited to talk about it because it's going to open up what I think is going to be some of the best terrain that they'll have. But let's talk about the runs that we didn't ski. We didn't ski Troll Cross, Fall Line, Hog Wild, or, I hope I pronounced this right, Oat Gong. Oat Gong actually means exit or output, which is pretty cool because that's kind of how you get back to the main area. But these areas have a lot more pitch than a lot of the other ski areas. So something like more, you know, like a Jumping Judy, the Chute. So a little more advanced terrain off of that summit area. And then obviously we did not ski the summit area terrain park as well. Generally, they put their bigger features here, their bigger jump line here, things like that. That area right now is only open Friday through Sunday, so check their website for that. But the good news is that this area next year will receive a chairlift, which we're really excited about, and there's going to be the addition of, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 runs off of that new chairlift on that side. We're going to put some drone footage up so you guys can see what that area looks like. It looks really, really cool, and it's going to be more intermediate advanced terrain, which I think is going to be phenomenal, because I think if anything, Troll needs just a little bit more of that, and this new chairlift is going to give them that. So I'm super excited. We're obviously going to go back next season and do, you know, POVs of all those runs once they, you know, they're cut and snowmaking on them and everything like that. So really excited about this expansion. I can't wait to see it. But that's some of the stuff that we did not ski over on that side of the hill. Let's talk about my final thoughts of Trollhaugen. First of all, if you love park skiing, Troll is a staple among the Midwest community. They have amazing parks, they have a great variety, and they're always switching things up. It's definitely a must check out, especially if you live in the Twin Cities area. If you're an intermediate to beginner skier, Troll has a lot to offer. I love the vibes here. It feels like a real ski area. The trees are cut in a way that makes, you know, the runs feel very defined. It makes you feel like you're not in Wisconsin, which is really cool. For more advanced skiers, you're gonna find yourself kind of limited to just a couple of runs. Storebakken, Glade, and Nessebakken, you're probably gonna be just lapping those over and over again. For some people, that might be awesome and work perfectly fine. For others that want a little more variety on that scale, you know, it might not be the best for you. But the good news is, I think when they open this expanded terrain next season, your more advanced, intermediate, advanced skiers are going to have a lot more options, so definitely keep an eye out for that video when we update it next season. The last thing I want to talk about Trollhaugen is the vibe and the character of this place, and this is something it's really hard to quantify or show on a trail map or anything like that, because when you walk into this ski hill, it really feels like home. The chalet is, you know, got this nostalgic feel to you. It's updated, but it just feels like home when you walk in. The bar is phenomenal, and ultimately, everybody there is super nice, and every time I go there, I just really enjoy my time there. Maybe it's the blue chairs, the whole Troll storyline, whatever it is, it really feels like something special, and it's definitely one that I think every Midwesterner has to check out at least once. Well, guys, that is Trollhaugen in Dresser, Wisconsin. I hope you guys enjoyed skiing along with me today and checking out a little bit of what Troll has to offer. If you guys want to learn more, we will drop some links below. But until next time, I hope all of you have a great week. Pray for snow, and let's ski along again real soon.